Hello crew, welcome to your 7 Minutes of Piracy. Margaret and I are filming on location this week. New year, we're going to get back on track. We're going to do some more field trips this year. This is actually going to be the first of a two-parter. Margaret and I are in a archery league. Our favorite place to shoot is Archery World in Troutdale.
Yes, love it.
We participate in league night every week. We try and sneak out and do a practice once a week, but the range is open 24 hours, so it's kind of nice for us to come out here at 2 o'clock in the morning when nobody else is here. We've got the range to ourselves, we turn the lights on, we turn our music on, and we get to practice, so without anybody heckling us.
Which is good.
Which is good, because
they do.
We're not there yet.
Why did we get into archery? You're probably wondering, Margaret, Robert, why archery? Robert, tell us, why did we get into archery?
Why not?
Why not, indeed?
The reason we got into archery is for research for my book. Archery figures kind of prominently in some of the books I've done, and the more I started talking about it, I realized I didn't know all the terms, the terminology, the way some of the mechanics worked, and so I bought a bow, and we joined the league. So we came out here, practiced, started meeting other people, looking at the different equipment, learning the terminology, getting a little better with our own personal skills, kind of finding out all the nuances that separate a beginner archer like us and the people who have been doing it for years, who are so much more accurate and smoother and confident. So each week we're watching them, we're taking notes, and we're trying to get a little better each week. But the research has helped out tremendously on my in my writing, and I feel a lot better knowing what I'm talking about now.
But it's a lot of fun because there's two main types of bows, and we'll get into that in more detail. But Robert actually started out with a compound bow, and that'll be next video.
That's part two.
That's part two. When I started out with the traditional recurve bow, which is much harder.
It's a little harder.
Much harder than the compound bow, because the compound bow has all kinds of technical sights and all that. But as we get into
gadgets. As
we get into the recurve, you see that it is really the shooter's precision that makes it all happen.
There's almost no technology on a recurve bow. It really comes down to the skill of the archer.
Right. So and the old, Robin Hood point and shoot. That's pretty much how it goes. Although it's amazing when you're pointing at one thing and your arrow goes off, over there.
We're both very familiar with that.
I don't know if you can see down there, way down there, there's a big banner with a little deer on it. Yeah, I've hit that deer. Not trying to.
Let's talk about the parts of the bow, Margaret.
But yes, let's, because the recurve bow, I absolutely love it. And originally I was like, well, I don't want to do the recurve. I want to do compound and be cool like the other kids. But the more I've been shooting the recurve, I think it is so much more fun. And I like the personal challenge of it. So do you want me to go through the parts?
I do. Let's talk about the parts.
Okay. So
we actually each brought our bow because they're actually a little bit different. Margaret is right-handed and shoots right-handed. I am right-handed, but I shoot bows left-handed. It's just an anomaly.
But anyway, so I don't know if you can see, but here.
We can see. Here, let me move.
This is your recurve bow, and it's called a recurve because of the way the bow curves out away from you, because the bowstring, which is the bowstring, creates the tension. But these are called the limbs.
Or risers?
No, these
Just
are the
limbs?
limbs.
Just limbs.
And you've got an upper limb and a lower limb, and then the center part is called your riser.
Or the handle.
The handle. But the riser could be made out of, mine's wood. It's really kind of pretty. I don't know if you can see. It's got different colored woods on there. But so mine is made out of wood, and then the risers, it's
carbon fiber.
Carbon fiber on the outside. And these things the tension on this is ridiculous. So that string ever breaks, watch out. And then this right here is your wrist guard. So when you are shooting.
Not wrist guard, wrist strap.
Wrist strap, sorry. When you're shooting, you're not supposed to grip. You don't have a death grip on the bow. You're just kind of holding it, and that just kind of, once you release the tension, it just kind of falls so it doesn't drop your bow.
If you've ever watched the Olympics, you'll see them when they after they take a shot, the bow will almost fall out of their hand, and that's what the wrist strap is for, because you're actually not supposed to grip it like this. You've actually got your hand against it, and you're just holding away from you.
Right.
So after you take a shot, there's nothing holding that bow, and it will just fall out of your hand.
And then this is where your arrow rests. And then this right here is the nock. So when you put your arrow in,
I don't know if they can see the nock. Get closer.
Close up.
See a little tiny
There's a
nock?
nock right there. So when you put your bow or your arrow in, it rests on this strap, and that knocks in. Of course, I'm carrying it awkward, but anyway. So then you're ready to go. So that's
something we found out in the very first week. I just assumed that your arrow rested on top of the nock when you lined it up. It actually goes just below the nock.
below the nock. And you can raise your nock to aim. Mine's set right where I like it to be, so I'm not ever gonna mess with the nock, because.
They actually measure it and level it for you for each particular shooter.
And then on the front of mine, I have a weight. And everybody's like, oh, you gotta put weights on your bow, the weights make a difference. I'm like, what's a weight gonna do? And then I got one, and it really makes a difference in the stability and the vibration of your bow. So it definitely is a big help to have a little weight on the front of your bow.
Yeah, the weights are just like little washers. Margaret's got 4 of them on the front. I've just got one on the front of mine. That's all I need. It's mainly just to hold my wrist strap on there, but I didn't notice a big difference with the weights.
Oh, I did immediately.
Okay.
And then on mine, I customized it, and I have my name, because there's about 4 other people in our league that have the same exact bow. And so I'm like, well, I gotta make mine stand out, and I like sparkle, so.
Ta-da, sparkle, sparkle.
So that's my bow. Forearm guard, and this is a absolute must, because when you pull that string back and it releases, it can, if you're not holding your bow correctly, it'll smack. And let me tell you, when I was first learning, this whole thing was purple and rainbow. So
it only takes you hitting your wrist once or twice before you get a wrist guard, because it is, it's welts, bruising.
It's awful. It's painful.
Yeah, it hurts.
And then the other important thing is,
it's a finger guard.
it's finger guard. But you put it on, and then when you're holding your bow and you're pulling your string back, if you do that repeatedly, it's gonna hurt really bad right there. So this and it helps the bowstring just release.
Last thing we're going to talk about before we do some shooting are the quivers. Margaret, why don't you talk about your quiver?
Oh, my quiver. My quiver is blue, because you got to be pretty. But anyway, it's pretty basic. It just holds the arrows here. There's a pocket, because you got to have a pen with you at all times, so you can mark your scores. And then I have a pocket down here
With her handy dandy.
where I carry my handy dandy notebook and pen, so I can kind of mark my progress. And then up here is a little upper pocket, and I keep my little finger guard in there. So that's my.
Okay, ready to shoot?
Yeah, let's shoot.
All right, let's shoot for a little bit. I'm going to try and walk this down.
Ooh. We each shot three arrows. Oh my God. I know this was mine, and I know this was mine, and I want to say this one.
Was mine.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, then what? Then this one was mine. I don't know. I lost track.
That's why we're here in the middle of the night practicing,
Yes.
because we would like to shoot in the center.
My arrows generally are very afraid of the yellow.
Target panic.
So we're all done. And when you store your bow, you should not store it with the tension on it. So you need to release the string. There's a fancy way of doing it with your foot. I'm not that advanced yet. So I have a D-stringer.
Or just a stringer.
Or a stringer, or whatever. Well, it's strings and D-strings. So anyway, I'll show you how that works. It's pretty cool. So you take that and you put a little sleeve in, and then you take your feet. Come on, there we go. Okay, and you pop that off and see how the recurve, what the tension has release the tension does. And there's an up and a down, or a top and a bottom rather, to the bow, or to the string rather. And so on the bottom limb, you put a rubber band so your string doesn't come off your limb, and that way you'll never have it upside down. Because if you have it upside down, then your knot is not lined up correctly. So then I have this carrying case. So my riser goes in here, and then my limbs goes right here. And then I have a handy dandy pocket. Oh, I was telling you about the other finger guard. So this is my original one. Wait, it goes like that and wraps around, and then it protects your fingers. But I don't use that one anymore. And then I can put my quiver and my wrist guard all goes in here. There you go. And then your arrows go in a pouch and they get put on the side, and you can carry your bow.
Why isn't that personalized yet with a cricket?
Yeah, good question. I'll get on it.